What's up, guys? Welcome back to BlockHash Exploring the Blockchain, episode 285. Happy Wednesday. Getting up there, almost 300. Today, have a fantastic guest, Valentin, CEO of Quasar Finance, here to talk about DeFi, a bit more DeFi in the Cosmos ecosystem, and kind of what they're doing around asset management. Valentin, how you doing, man? Welcome.
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on the show. It's an honor.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to have you on. We'll have a really fun conversation, a lot I want to talk about. Before we do, tell the audience a bit more about yourself. I'm sure they're curious as to who you are and, what you've done prior in the space leading up to Quasar. So give us a bit
Yeah,
about your story and your background.
absolutely. And I want to preface this with saying this is not what I usually wear. I'm currently phoning out of CoinDesk Ideas in New York City, which connects TradFi to DeFi. So you got to show some sort of presence. But
What do you
yeah,
usually
again,
wear?
I would say smart casual, but definitely not white collar. I would probably wear
Okay.
just a quarter zipper, closed off. That's probably what I would go for. So I've been in crypto since I'm 16, like very early on, and my journey through crypto has been like guided through basically finding out new things and then exploring them. Right. So in the beginning, I was doing tokenomics reports. Went to Draper University, Tim Draper's University, and then essentially worked on NFTs for supply chain management solutions. Went on to co-found my old company. It's a research advisory business for German institutions, essentially. And then went in full native DeFi, joined an incubator, co-founded Quasar out of that, and that's where we are today. So definitely a super crypto-driven professional career.
Awesome. Cool. Well, was there like a specific moment, in your past, like with crypto or with blockchain that like really piqued your interest and you're like this is the industry I want to be in, or this is the space I want to be a part of?
Yeah, so I would say there were like two big ones, right? It was the first moment was when I found out about Bitcoin when I was 16, where essentially, that age you start getting econ classes and you start talking about inflation, you start talking about value, and like you start realizing, on one hand we have someone that prints the money, on the other hand people don't have enough of it. It's just a weird concept. When I found out about Bitcoin, the limited supply back then was like what were people interested in. That piqued my interest, so that's why I kind of explored deep into it, right? And then the second stage was with the arrival of DeFi, with Uniswap, essentially, where I was saying, okay, this entire market has been cycling around like a shark around the future, and DeFi, and suddenly we're in it, right? We caught it, we bid it. And that really got me in like super deep and super natively once that happened with full conviction. And ever since I had not a single piece of doubt.
Yeah. So what about DeFi, really piqued your interest? I know there's a lot of different potential use cases for decentralized finance in the world today.
Yeah.
Was there anything about that that made you want to kind of get into that side of things with Quasar?
Absolutely, yeah. So to give it a bit of more background on me, right? My parents both come from ex-communist countries, and what people in the West often don't realize is that those people had to adopt and learn this new system of capitalism, right? So they didn't grow up in it, and you can tell to this day that the access for them, the understanding of how the system works, is very limited. So the aspect that gets me excited about DeFi is entirely democratizing any and all things that traditional finance has gatekept, right? So it's essentially market making. You can't be a market maker unless you're Citadel or Virtue. Now you can, right? You can't be a liquidity provider unless you're very wealthy. Now you can with $50. If you are from Argentina, you can't buy US stocks. Well, now you can, right? For me, it was just democratizing access of financial freedom, which is the mission that has guided me ever since.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's a very noble mission to follow and into the space. And, I think you guys will, help make a lot of change through Quasar. So what are some of the things you guys are doing with Quasar within the DeFi world? What
Yeah.
makes you guys different from some of those other projects, and what do you guys focus on?
Yeah, absolutely. So right now in DeFi, asset management is one of the smallest aspects, right? One of the smallest markets. And we are setting up the thesis that it's going to be one of the biggest, the same way that it happened in traditional finance, where, asset management was pretty small and now it's literally the biggest market. And the reason that it's small is because you don't have a lot of trust in the system, right? A lot of anon teams, you don't know who is really managing your capital. You have a bunch of risk vectors you can't really judge as an end user, and you can't even judge as an institution. And on top of that, it's really the lack of expertise and the time to acquire expertise. That's an issue, right? So our goal really is allowing professional strategists access to global capital, which in turn means that global capital can invest alongside the best of the industry. And we solve an issue on the asset management side of things, which is, AUM increase, just increasing more capital they're managing. And we're solving the issue on the global side of things, which is access to those best-in-class products, which have been gatekept from you in the past. So the problem we're really solving is that bridge, right? How do we onboard institutions natively to DeFi, which is, again, also literally why we talked at CoinDesk Ideas today about that. At the same time, it's also building a product that is truly DeFi native and not CDFI, with a user experience that someone that's not in DeFi could actually follow, right? So for instance, Web3 auth, where you can have login with Apple and Google, that sort of thing. So it's bridging that gap is what we are at Quasar tackling.
Cool. So is this focused more towards like an institutional body that wants asset management, or is this also tailored to like the retail investor that wants to take a small amount of capital and put it into DeFi as like passive income over time and earn staking rewards? Is it for both or one or the other?
Yeah, it's for both, but it's obviously phases to get to the first one, right? You don't propose marriage on the first date. But so in the beginning phases, it really is focused for DeFi native people. That's much more what we do. So someone someone having like $500 left over, and we want to allow him to pick where he would want to invest his money and alongside whom, right? And the strategists that run the strategies are not going to be institutions on day one, right? We have to be very honest about that. It's going to be DeFi natives, but that's still valid, right? Because they have the time and the expertise to look into where to deposit the capital. We are not yet at the phase where we have, quant strategy against quant strategy with hard-coded strategies and like microsecond latency differences, like winning or losing, right? We're still not there in crypto, and that's fine. We will get to that point, but for now, strategies can be as simple as just an index, right? If you want to invest into Cosmos today, you can't really bet on IBC, you can't bet on Cosmos, because if you buy Atom, you're not buying the gas that's being used for the entire DeFi and Cosmos. If you buy Ethereum, you're getting the Ethereum network. So one of the first strategies that we are launching with is literally just an index and auto rebalances, auto compounds, and auto stakes rewards.
Okay, got it. Makes sense. So I know you guys have it set up as these vaults in a way where people can create different like strategies for locking up their capital. Can you talk a bit more about that and how it works? And if someone, wanted to use Quasar, how can they use that to their advantage, maybe to make some passive income?
Absolutely. So the way that it's designed is we are our own app chain, right? And if I would have told myself a couple of years ago that we're building our own chain, I would have coughed and laughed in my face. But with the Cosmos SDK, it's very possible, right? So the entire chain is designed to essentially host strategies and offer best-in-class execution in the Cosmos ecosystem. So what it would look like is basically, you would find a vault that you like, you would read into what it does, you would look into the past performance, make your assumptions, right? This is not financial advice from my end. And then you would essentially follow that strategy. So it's actually non-custodial, which is kind of the kicker. You're not giving up your funds. You're following a strategy like copy trading, like social trading on eToro, right? And yeah, at that point, your capital is working for you and you can disconnect and leave it as soon as you want.
Cool. Can it be like, does it have to be like Quasar, like your guys' native token, or can it be like anything within the ecosystem?
Yeah. So the way it's designed is that the strategies are controlled from the Quasar chain, right? But they're also independently governed. So like any depositor into a vault has voting rights in that vault, and we as an entity or token holders don't have that. So, we can't liquidate a vault that you invested into unless everyone that invested into the vault votes on that, right? And then the strategies destinations are essentially all IBC chains. So Cosmos SDK for now, Polkadot by the end of the year, near next year, and then ETH the year after probably. So the vaults are designed specifically to automatically execute your strategy across IBC.
So why did you guys decide to start by building this on IBC and the Cosmos ecosystem.
Yeah,
Was there anything about it that was more attractive than building it within
absolutely.
Polkadot's ecosystem or Ethereum's?
Absolutely. So if you look at Ethereum, where we know the most liquidity is, we're not contesting that fact, you don't own the entire stack. So if you run a strategy, you are competing on block space with NFT projects, right? You're competing with a mint, you're competing with jump trading, you're competing with actual high frequency trading entities. On top of that, you don't own the fee structure from the entire stack, right? So you're just relying on Ethereum updating. And sometimes there's updates in Ethereum that break smart contracts because you can't upgrade them after you put them out, which is, again, a very good reason we're building on Cosmos, because with Cosmos, the language based on Rust we use for the vaults, you can upgrade a vault even after it was been deployed, which is crucial for strategies and crucial for keeping them up to date, which is something that you don't have in ETH. Also, owning the entire stack allows us to build solutions in the chain that make sure that you don't get front run, for example, right? Or that like MEV is not captured by validators that don't contribute to the ecosystem. So we can really play around with all the levers if we own the entire stack. So, and the last reason is fragmentation of capital. So there's a ton of capital in IBC, but spread out, right? And by building the vaults that can execute automatically, we can run strategies across different of those chains. So you can have an arbitrage strategy trading between Gravity DEX and Osmosis, right? Or Thor-chain and Osmosis, which is a capability that's really strong and hasn't been seen before.
Awesome. What are some of your thoughts, taking a step back and looking at the entire industry and looking at DeFi in particular? I know over the last couple of years, it has become one of the main highlights of the entire, blockchain space, and has really driven value, TVL and capital into the space more than it ever has. In some ways, faster rates than even into traditional finance. Where do you see DeFi at right now, and where do you think it's going to end up in the next year or so? I know the development is happening very, very quickly every single day, but there's so many ideas, so many strategies, so many different projects working on different things. It's hard to follow and get an idea of the trajectory of this side of the space. Since you're, there and a part of it, and you see it every day, you have your thumb on the pulse of it. What are your thoughts of DeFi right now?
So I think that DeFi right now, it's going to be an obsolete battle between ecosystems, right? With IBC coming in, I'm pretty sure that liquidity will be able to move freely between ecosystems, and it won't be like, this is better than that, right? There's going to be a reason to go to ETH, and there's going to be a reason to go to Polkadot. And once you have that IBC interoperability, you don't have to choose anymore where you start off, right? Or where you're locked in. I also think that accommodating professional asset managers is something that's going to come in the next year, 2 or 3, where we have a ton of products and a ton of, I would say, solutions they need in order to run strategies. Let's say historical data tracking, right? Data points, real-time data trading, testnet versions for modeling their machine learning algorithms. Those things are going to pop up. And I think at the last stage, DeFi is going to explore more innovative ways of how to replicate what we have in traditional finance in a more decentralized and trustless manner, which is what I'm particularly excited about.
Yeah, me too. I think it's going to be very interesting to see how this shapes up, but also within the traditional finance industry, because I think it threatens a lot of exchanges and banks and major players that have been around for a long time, as well as crypto exchanges in our industry. DeFi is in a lot of ways a better, faster, cheaper alternative. Do you see that creating any kind of loggerheads or potential conflict within the crypto industry, knowing that DeFi is accelerating really quickly and exchanges are under all this scrutiny? Do you see any issues there?
I think we are already in that fight, to be honest. And I think the issue is that decentralized organizations cannot successfully represent themselves in regulatory issues, right? And that's a massive issue because centralized entities can lobby, and they can engage as entities with the lawmakers. And, lawmakers have the best intention at heart, but it's obviously very important where they get the data from, right? And who's playing the game and who's representing the retail investors. And right now, decentralized autonomous organizations, DAOs, do not really have the ability to do that on a legal level. So I think what threatens DeFi's native growth is that bridge to regulation, which we kind of have to find a way around. But I think that centralized exchanges will always have a market because the fiat on-ramp is going to be regulated forever in most markets. And if they innovate enough on that, then they're always going to have that moat, right? That monopoly, I would say, in the onboarding to crypto. However, there's always also going to be competition in playing around that, but I don't think they're going to reach mainstream adoption the same way that centralized exchanges have.
So what's next for you guys with Quasar? What do you have on your roadmap that's coming up that you guys are maybe excited about or that you're rolling out? And then, what are your plans for, the next year in the first and second quarter?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're currently in version 2 of our testnet. So we're running with independent validators already. We're looking at a mainnet launch date at around January. And what we're currently designing is really like the final architecture for the permissionless vault creation. So we are particularly excited to really offer those tools as an infrastructure offering to anyone that wants to run strategies and wants to co-invest with people that run strategies that they believe in. So yeah, we currently have all eyes on site for January mainnet launch. That's what we're looking at. We just came from an offsite in Istanbul, so everybody is super excited. And we're just going to iron out the last details until that moment comes and then see where the road leads us.
Excellent. Where can people follow Quasar if they want to learn more? Should they just go to the website if they want more information, more documentation, or do you guys have a community somewhere?
Yeah, so we're currently firing out of all cylinders in updating the website and documentation. So there's going to be a new website soon, but the domain will stay. It is quasar.fi. You can also find us on Twitter. It's also quasarfi. And you can get Medium and Discord links from Twitter and the website. New website soon, much more content soon, technical onboarding as well as non-technical onboarding. Light paper is in the final draft stage. Coming soon has a bad rep in this industry. I don't think we're going to improve it, but it is coming soon. We are working on it. And I would love to just hear people's thoughts and hear how they are looking to engage with the protocol so we can develop the needs and find the solutions for the needs they have.
What about you? You're on social media anywhere? Can people find you?
Yeah, I would say at Valeo, as you can see there we go, in the bottom right corner, at Valeo777 is my Twitter. That's mainly the one interesting point. But don't see quality content coming. It is definitely my private outlet for some thoughts I have randomly.
And we love random thoughts. I love to kind of stalk some of the guests that come on the show and just see what they put on social media every once in a while.
Yeah, I can totally see that being interesting.
Yeah, guys, go follow Valentin. Make sure to check out Quasar Finance as well. Like and subscribe to the video down below if you haven't already. Valentin, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come on the show and chat about what you guys are doing at Quasar with asset management, everything within the Cosmos ecosystem and IBC chain. And very excited to see how things go for you guys' mainnet launch come January. So keep me updated, man.
Will do. Thank you, Brandon. Have a nice day, everyone.
You too. Take care.